Thank you. We need to move on, but thank you so very much. Our next speaker is a previous one that we introduced already. I will not reintroduce, Rahoul Mehra, who should be on the screen right now with his slides up, please, and his sound on. Okay. We're waiting. Screen on, please. And speaker on. It was our fault, actually, not his before, so now we should be seeing him. There he is. All right. Rahoul, take it away. 3 minutes plus 2 minutes questions. Go ahead.
All right. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, and we can hear you perfectly.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Rahoul Mehra, as I guess you've already come to know. And I'm a managing partner at Kidbrook Funds. Actually, we're an environment fund, and our primary focus is project finance for carbon offsets plus financialization of natural assets. So basically, we want to unlock the environmental value of nature, not as a commodity, but as nature itself. And frankly, you know, where our motivation comes from is that I believe we've messed up our kids and their future. And I hope not, but believe it may be true. I believe much of climate impact is already built in. And, you know, we're not getting systems to return to what they were in a human lifetime. But humans are good with dealing with change if it doesn't come en masse. And so to take a terminology from the pandemic, my goal is to flatten the curve. So while much of carbon credits are, you know, suspect, we want to do real projects and generate highly traceable credits and returns. Okay. So, and originating carbon credits is fun. You can actually blow up dikes and create salt marshes and do things of that nature. So blue carbon is an area that I love. It's one example I'd like to give you. Generally gives you the largest near-term impact in carbon absorption. Mangroves are monsters in terms of absorbing carbon, wetlands generally. And if you give them some space, they can migrate as impacts of climate change come at us, like erosion or sea rise. They can continue to replant and reseed behind themselves. But probably the coolest thing is about all of this is that, you know, to meet the long-term carry that you want from carbon absorption on any given project over 10, 20, 30 years, you need to, one of the best ways to do that is to incorporate co-benefits. So projects that enhance biodiversity, provide for indigenous economy, and offer environmental preservation are generally amazing projects. And we also allocate to venture capital. So, you know, we're looking primarily at technologies and platforms that facilitate carbon offsetting, but we do some opportunistically as well. And one example is based on Andreas and my relationship and my previous work with essential oils as insect repellent. So I hope you can see the data, but our data shows efficacy even at low percentages. This was conducted by a large flavor and fragrance company, not by ourselves. And it was validated by a pretty famous scientist in the space in terms of the gold standard test that we utilized. Anyway, if we can maintain a consistent concentration, then we should be able to have continuous repellency. So the main issue with essential oils is that if you can formulate them to repel, the problem is they're volatile. And so one option could be encapsulation for a personal product. Another option Andreas and I have kicked around is a water-based nebulizer delivery with like Bluetooth and sensor monitoring capability. But you guys tell us, you know, we can bring funds, we can bring the formulation and field testing. You know, I acknowledge that what we're going to come up with here may be a first world solution for muckety mucks, but we can create tons of impact. We could franchise the system build to local entrepreneurs around the world. We could license the oil formula locally to rural, indigenous, underrepresented populations to sell the razor blades, the formulation itself. And that's a lot of good impact. So at Kidbrook, you know, we care about profits, obviously, but we lean into impact because we care about the future of our planet. As I hope you've realized, this is about fulfilling my obligation to my kids and therefore future generations. So the best way I can do that is by building relationships and utilizing the financial system to beat these problems into the dirt. And I'd like to put it forth to you guys. How about you? What can you bring to the table? Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Rahul. Yes. Okay. I think unless we have a question from the web and somebody raises their hand, I'll just do the one question and we move on. Rahul, one thing that you mentioned is that you have an idea about a nebulizer that will emit in a certain concentration and a certain balance these odorants that we know have some effects. I think that is key to many of the people who spoke here, including those who build noses like Tristan and Tunable, who need something that will give them a constant signal so they can train their machines. So that is one avenue where you could be looking for partnerships. Another one is for people who want to do, let's say, epilepsy sensing. If you get good enough at the epilepsy sensing, you might be able to actually therapeutically intervene, either you or people such as Patty Mace or people such as my group, where we're thinking of using odorants to actually modulate mood, modulate behavior, modulate appetite, something that Manolis Kelis here will be interested in and talk to us about. So we know that these molecules can modulate behavior, they can modulate mood, they can modulate your health, and being able to control what is in your atmosphere, how long, when, all these things might as well start with a very clean system that fights mosquitoes and then port it to everything else. So please, this was not really a question, it was more of a comment, but I think Rahul, once they know who you are, we will give you also his information on our website. If and when you need to partner with someone who can give you money but also direct it towards good of the planet, Rahul is your guy. Okay.